Have you ever seen a Where's Waldo book? Brilliant concept that Scholastic came up with in 1987. And they've been making tons of money ever since. Take one man, put him in a page, and then surround him with a whole bunch of other chaotic things that look similar enough that make it really challenging for him to be found. And then give it to kids, adolescents, even adults, and say, hey, try to find this guy. See, everybody knows what Waldo looks like. He's got brown hair, he's got Coke glasses, he's got the red and white striped shirt. Once in a while, there's even a cane. See, what makes Waldo books so challenging isn't our ability to see or see Waldo, but our ability to focus. Now, I'm convinced not one book would have sold and Scholastic would have made no money if they would have just merely put one man on a page with nothing going on around him. It would have been easy. It would have been, there's Waldo, not where's Waldo. But what makes it so unique, and I think makes it so relevant, is that we see all this chaos and all these things that make it so hard to find him. And I wonder how often that's a picture of our lives, or even our spiritual lives. See, John 10:10, Jesus said that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. And then later on he goes on to say that I've come to give you life and abundantly, but we see there that one of Satan's main objectives is to destroy us. And I found in my life, and I think in the lives of many others, that if Satan can't destroy us, he'll at least settle for distracting us. I like what the author in Hebrews chapter 12 says in the New Living Translation. He talks about this idea of focus. He says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run the race that is set out before us with endurance. I find it interesting that he makes oh my gosh. Oh, that sucks. I hate it when I forget a word. I'm just going to pick up a Hebrews.
Yeah, just pick up that.
I am. It's probably my best intro.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, anyway. I love how the author in Hebrews puts it in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. The New Living Translation reads like this. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down and every sin that trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. I find it interesting that he makes a correlation and a distinction between the weight that slows us down and the sin that trips us up. I think so often in our life we've convinced ourselves that the only thing that slows us down is sin. But I think so often, as the author here points out in Hebrews 12, there's a lot of things that distract us just as much as sin trips us up. All of us have different specific purposes and missions and goals and objectives in our lives, whether it's your relationship with God, whether it's being a dad or being a business owner, or a type of husband or wife or mother you want to be. And I believe that the enemy's scheme, if he can't destroy you, is to at least distract you enough that you're ineffective and you don't reach the goals and the purposes that God has set before you. I think of my life and how I love sports. I love to be active. I'm not a great athlete, but I just love doing things. Probably at the prime of my life, I was in 2 or 3 softball leagues, playing golf once a week, and in a flag football league. Well, 15 months ago, my life changed when Madison, our first child, my daughter, was born. I've backed down a lot of those things, not because sports are evil or they're sin, but because I want to be a great father. I feel a calling and anointing to not be an absent dad and to develop and teach and train and love my kids, and I don't want to be gone from them. So rather than spend all my spare time doing the things I enjoy, those have now become a distraction to a greater calling, which is to be a father. So sometimes in my life, I see how it's not necessarily the sin, but it's the things that are even good that are getting in the way of things that are better. When I think of this idea of focus, I think of Jerry Rice. A long time ago, Joe Montana, when they started playing together for the 49ers, Joe Montana would get irritated with Jerry Rice in practice. He even made a report of this because every time Jerry would catch a ball in practice, instead of just throw it back and return the line, he would catch it and turn and run all the way to the end zone. And practices would take longer and guys would get irritated. But see, Jerry Rice's goal wasn't just to catch passes in the NFL. His goal and his mission was to be the best receiver in the history of the game. So every time in practice, it wasn't just about catching a pass, it was about ending in the end zone so that when he got into a game, He was focused on where he was going. Ironically enough, Jerry Rice is the all-time leading touchdown reception leader in the NFL. And it was because his focus, he didn't let things distract him, and he didn't go with everything else that was going on around him. You ever been driving in your car and you smelled something funny? Maybe the radio's going or you're talking to people. The first thing you do, this happened to me recently, the first thing you do when you maybe smell heat coming out of your engine is, hey guys, be quiet, and you turn down your radio as if like turning down the noise is going to heighten your sense of smell. Absolutely not. But what is that all about? It's about eliminating distraction so you can focus on the most important thing. I think so often the devil just tries to get us distracted from the most important thing so we do some okay things, but not the things that we were placed here to do. So when you look at your life now, what is it? What are the things that maybe are even good in your life that are getting in the way of the most important things? As I said with the Where's Waldo book, it's not just about our ability to see, but it's about our ability to focus. Don't let the devil steal your focus.